When my sister Lorena was born with developmental disabilities, the doctor said she would never walk or talk. And yet by age 21, Lorena could sing, dance, and had even played piano at Carnegie Hall. Now, Lorena's seemingly miraculous development was no miracle. My mom gave up work to be a full-time caregiver. Our house was constantly flooded with therapists, speech, physical, occupational, you name it. My role quickly evolved from playmate to cheerleader. I took it upon myself to evangelize disability supporters and donors, organizing after-school soccer programs and raising funds through our town's annual turkey trot. By the time Lorena reached her third senior year of high school, I could not have been prouder to see her bounding across the stage to receive her high school diploma alongside her neurotypical classmates. You know, the ones who only did one senior year of high school. But what I didn't see coming was the cliff. The cliff refers to a common phenomenon where adults with disabilities face a sharp drop-off in resources, funding, and support upon phasing out of special education. Up until age 21, people with disabilities receive tremendous structural support. Schools provide care for 8 hours of the day, funding for therapies and extracurricular activities, and integration with neurotypical peers. Schools also come with an embedded team of professionals that help families shape development plans outlining the goals for their child with disabilities. However, there is no equivalent structure for adulthood. There is no roadmap for achieving independence. Finding the right residential community feels like an impossible task, and job prospects are unclear. There are 6 million American adults with developmental disabilities like Lorena. And when you factor in their families and caregivers, we're talking about 10% of the population that's impacted by the cliff. Now, each family and individual with disabilities has a unique set of needs, but they all face the same drop-off in resources and support. For Lorena, this fall off the cliff came fast and hard. Just months after graduating from high school, Lorena's neurotypical classmates were off at college while Lorena was back at home regressing into a version of herself we didn't recognize. The absence of structure from school and lack of stimulation from neurotypical peers were more harmful to Lorena's development than we ever could have imagined. Once encyclopedic in memory, Lorena could no longer remember what she ate for breakfast. Once spending hours at a time at the piano, Lorena could no longer concentrate for more than 5 minutes. And once the smiling optimist, Lorena became paralyzed with irrational fears of rain, mirroring the fog that was clouding her mind. For the first time, Lorena was up against something far greater than her disability, a world without the structure to support her. It became clear to me that compassion and donations were no longer enough. No turkey trot would suffice. I am here to make the case for inclusion and investment to conquer the cliff. Inclusion goes beyond compassion by actively weaving individuals with disabilities into the fabric of our society. And when we do so, we all stand to benefit. Take the workplace. Disability-inclusive employers see benefits in both company culture and performance. An Accenture report shows that companies at the forefront of disability inclusion outperform similar companies with 30% higher revenue and 2 times net income. Workforce participation among people with disabilities is dramatically lower than the nation's average. Less than 1/3 of working-age adults participate in the workforce. And it's not for lack of trying. Data shows that the vast majority of unemployed people with disabilities want a job. And if we were to include them in the workforce, we could add $200 billion to the US GDP in just 15 years. Next, let's talk about inclusive design. Disability-inclusive designers see benefits in both market size and customer usability. What's accessible to people with disabilities is accessible to all. For example, Siri was once created for visually impaired individuals who represent less than 10% of the population, and is now used by all you iPhone users, or more than 50% of the United States. This is referred to as the curb cut effect. In 1990, the Americans with Disabilities Act mandated that curbs be cut in order to enable sidewalk access for wheelchair users, and is now used by strollers, suitcases, and delivery carts as well. Thoughtful, inclusive design can be a competitive advantage in any industry. Let's consider housing. Designing inclusive housing developments could easily result in another curb cut effect. Today, more than 20 million Americans are eligible for disability housing assistance. Meanwhile, less than 5% of the nation's housing supply is designed to be accessible. Inclusive features such as noise absorption in common spaces, guide strips for wayfinding, and plain language lease documents could not only help close gaps in accessible housing, but also add real value to all residents. All these great ideas for inclusion require funding. Investment goes beyond donation by seeking financial return, and therefore comes with an added incentive to ensure that funds catalyze change. More than $500 billion of purchasing power lies with working-age adults with disabilities, and yet the segment is still underserved and undervalued. But investing in the disability population could generate compelling returns and accelerate innovation. Think novel therapeutics and diagnostics to improve health outcomes. Think employer supports to stimulate workforce participation. Think tools that streamline access to disability benefits, or adaptive technologies that promote interaction with the world. So, where is Lorena today? She is slowly but surely shaking the dust from her fall off the cliff. An inclusive employer saw Lorena's potential to brighten customers' days and hired her to work the front desk at an American Girl doll resale store. With the help of her assistive iPhone app, Lorena is able to hail paratransit vans to take her to and from work independently. And with future investment, I am hopeful that Lorena will have the tools she needs to continue on her journey towards independence. So, as future business leaders, you have the power to decide who to include and where to invest. I implore you to think about adults with disabilities. To all you employers and future team leaders, consider hiring people with disabilities. To all you entrepreneurs, consider disability-inclusive designs. To all you investors, consider deploying capital towards disability tech. And to all the rest of you, consider inclusion. Not just because it's the right thing to do, but because we all stand to benefit. Together, let's conquer the cliff.